Brought to you by Penguin.
The Payback. Written by Simon Kernick, read by Paul Thornley. The moral right of the author has been asserted. Prologue. As soon as the man in black walked into the cluttered little office, a briefcase in one gloved hand, a large, lethal-looking pistol in the other, Nick Penny realised that in an occasionally distinguished career of stepping on the toes of those with something to hide, he'd finally planted his size 9 squarely on the wrong ones. "You've been a bad boy," said the man, in heavily accented yet perfect English, coming towards Penny's desk and raising the pistol so it was pointed at the centre of his chest. A cold, knowing expression on a face that was otherwise perfectly ordinary. Penny was frozen to his seat. "Please," he whispered, conscious of his heart hammering in his chest. "I don't want to die." "No one wants to die, Mr. Penny," said the gunman evenly. "Unfortunately, in this matter you have no choice." Instinctively, Penny shut his eyes and gritted his teeth, waiting for the impact of the bullet. But the gunman didn't pull the trigger. Instead, he took a seat opposite him. "Where you do have a choice, however," he continued, waiting until Penny opened his eyes again, "is the manner in which you depart." He motioned towards Penny's open notebook. "I want you to write 3 short letters. The first will be to your wife, asking for her forgiveness, and apologizing both for your deception and for what you are about to do. You will address her as Nat and sign it Nick. The second will be to your lover, saying that you can't take the pressure anymore. You will address her as T and sign it Mr. P. The third will be to your daughters, Ella and Amelie. Again, you will ask for their forgiveness. You will also add that you hope one day they will understand your actions. You will, of course, sign this letter, Love, Daddy." Penny flinched at the mention of his 2 daughters. He stared at the gunman, wondering how on earth this man knew so much about him. Not only the names of his family, but also that of the woman he'd been seeing secretly for the past 3 months. He'd worked incredibly hard to cover his tracks there, having no desire to cause Natalie undue upset, but even so, he'd been found out by a complete stranger, and one who even knew the pet name his lover had used right up until the end of their affair 2 weeks earlier, Mr. P. He'd loved the way she'd purred it when they were in bed. The man must have bugged her house, as well as his own, which meant he was a professional, something that was obvious by his calm, unflappable manner, and the blankness of his expression. But to Penny, it also meant that he could be reasoned with. "Look, there must be some way we can sort this out," he said, trying hard to keep the fear out of his voice. "I'm afraid there isn't," said the man, his expression unchanging. "You are to write those letters. Then you are to hang yourself from the overhead beam with rope that I will provide you with." Penny instinctively looked up at the RSJ that ran from one end of the office to the other, knowing it would easily hold his weight, then back at the man sitting opposite him. He was finding it difficult to believe that this was happening. He'd always known that some of the work he did carried with it an element of danger, but never in his worst nightmares had he expected to be staring down the barrel of a gun and pleading for his life. "Please," he whispered. "Start writing, Mr. Penny. And don't worry if you've forgotten what to say. I can dictate." Penny frowned. "You can't make me do it," he said with a lot more confidence than he felt. "That gun's a 9mm. It'll make a hell of a noise if it goes off in here, and you don't have a—"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?